Eruvin Daf Kuf Aleph, two amazing emails. First one from Lenny Hamel. He says, I am a daily Daf Yomi participant and it's changed my life. I started when you were in the middle of Shabbos and have not missed one shir. I started late in life. I am 82 years old. You should go all from Chayil El Chayil Koltov and your Shekoyach. Unreal. Second email from Yaakov Trigo from Borough Park. He says, you have to be careful what you say. It has side effects. He's talking about the amazing line that Mata Steinberg said, the best thing that happened to me this year is I'm no longer embarrassed to walk by my Svarim Shank. Says Yaakov Trigger, I was listening to the email from Matis and his brother Shas in my car on 13th Avenue. At a red light, I took off my glass to wipe my eyes and bumped into the car in front of me. It was a nice yeshivish woman. She didn't even check the car. It was scratched. Please be careful what you say. Thank you, Yaakov. Says the Mishnah, if you have a door or even a bundle of thorns, a reed mat, and it's there to close a place that you don't usually use, like storage in the yard, it's usher to close that door, to close those reeds, because it's baina. Unless it's suspended above the ground and it acts as a door and it's obvious that it's a door. Abaye says, if it has a hinge, Rava says, if it used to have a hinge, you can see the outline of a hinge, then it's obvious that it's a door, and you could use it as such, and you're not over on any isser, even if it's not suspended above the ground. Reb Chia says, if you have something called delis almana, a widowed door, meaning either it's made out of one panel of wood versus the typical two, or it doesn't have the cross beams that a typical door has, even if it has a hinge, you can't use it on Shabbos. It's also to make a oil arai, a temporary covering, even on Yantiv. So if you have a bonfire you want to make on Yantiv, if you were to build it from bottom up, you would be creating an oil. So what you do is you start from the top and work your way down. You hold the wood up, suspend it, then put the wood underneath it. The same halacha will apply if you want to cook an egg, put a pot on a stove. First you put the pot, then you put the wood underneath the pot. If you're building, you have like one of these folding beds. First you lay out a piece of leather, then you put the legs underneath it. Same would be with a bunch of barrels. Top barrel, and then you put the barrel underneath. There's once a min, a kaifer, who walked over to Rabbi Shua ben Chananya and said, you thorn. The Torah says that toivam kechedek, the best of you, the Talmid Chachamim, are like a thorn. So he looked at him and he said, Shaita, Shafil Seifa, why didn't you just read one more word in that pasuk and then you'll understand? The continuation of the pasuk is Yashar mimisucha. The straight ones are like a sukkah, they protect Klal Yisrael. So what's the meaning that Talmid Chacham are like thorns? Just like a thorn, as the Gemara, as the Mishnah was saying, that you use a bundle of thorns to use as a door, it protects your yard. Talmid Chachamim protect the generation. Or they crush the Rishaim for Gehenna. Says the Mishnah, according to Reb Meir, it's usher to stand in one domain and unlock a door in another domain. Don't stand in the Rosh Hashanah and try to unlock your front door unless you make walls, a mechitza around the door, and you go into that door, and now you're in the Rosh Hashanah, the mechitza is 10 tefachim, it's a Rosh Hashanah. So the Chachamim told Reb Meir, what about in the marketplace in Yerushalayim, where they used to open doors like that? They would unlock doors. Now, the Gemara explains, Rav Papa says, that we're talking about Yerushalayim after the walls of Yerushalayim were breached. Before they were breached, since they used to lock the doors at night, the entire Yerushalayim turned into a Carmelist versus Rosh Hashanah. Even when the doors were open, it remained a Carmelist because in the Midbar, they didn't have doors at all. But now, once the wall is breached, Yerushalayim is no longer Rosh Hashanah, unfortunately. Yerushalayim remains a Rosh Hashanah, doesn't turn into a Carmelist. Rava says, we have to add to the Mishnah, it's understood on its own that the Mishnah meant to say, V'chein Carmelist. Not only should you not stand in a Rosh Hashanah and open up a door in Rosh Hashanah and vice versa, don't stand in a Carmelist and open up a door in Rosh Hashanah. If you have a Gina, a garden, which is a Carmelist, and it's open to Rosh Hashanah, and the lock, the box for the lock, is considered Rosh Hashanah because it's above 10 tefachim and it's 4 tefachim wide, Rebbe Meir in the beginning wanted to say that it's also to stand in a Carmelist and carry in the Rosh Hashanah, or stand in a Carmelist, carry Rosh Hashanah. Now, if it has a Beis Shar, it has some sort of vestibule around, so wherever the Beis Shar is, let's say the Beis Shar is on the Rosh Hashanah side, so you could stand in the Beis Shar and open the door. If the Beis Shar is in the Gina side, you could stand there. But later on, he retracted that. If there's a store that's open to Rosh Hashanah and the lock is below 10 tefachim, that's considered a karmelis. So what you do is you put the key on the stoop. The stoop, as we had, is considered a karmelis. Now you go from a karmelis to a karmelis. If the lock is above 10 tefachim, which is considered Rosh Hashanah, according to Rameir, you put the key on top of the lock, which is Rosh Hashanah. Chacham say you could put the key on the iskufa, on the stoop. Now what's going on here? If the stoop is a karmelis and the lock is a Rosh Hashanah, everybody agrees you can't go from a karmelis to Rosh Hashanah. Abaye says what's going on is that this particular lock is not a Rosh Hashanah. It doesn't have 4 tefachim. But together with the door, if you were to carve out the door, it has 4 tefachim. And the machlokes is, do we say chaykikim? Do we say pretend that you're carving out? Rameir throughout Shas holds chaykikim. You could always pretend if you have some sort of arch doorway, you could carve it out and make it straight for a mezuzah. Different halachas, Rameir says the concept of chaykikim. Chacham say it's also to carry from a karmelis to Rosh Hashanah. Even if you're going through a makim ptur like the lockbox, you're going from the stoop to the lockbox to the Rosh Hashanah, it's also. Similarly, as we learned many times in the Masechta, as Rav Dimi says, it's permitted to take an object, if you're in Rosh Hashanah, and place it down on a amud, on a beam in the middle of Rosh Hashanah that's less than 10 tefachim. It's a makim ptur. Or somebody from Rosh Hashanah to lean over the wall and put his hat or whatever it is down on that beam. Just make sure that you don't go from the Rosh Hashanah to the beam and from the beam to Rosh Hashanah and vice versa. You don't want to transfer Rosh Hashanah completely. That's exactly what's going on here. Chacham say, do not transfer from a karmelis to the lockbox to the Rosh Hashanah. Have a wonderful day.